I have grown quite a few roses in the past, and I grew most of my roses in containers, and I actually have a couple of videos here on my channel about rose care and pest care and what do you do with the pests on roses and things like that. When I switched over to growing cut flowers in my garden space several years ago, I really didn't have room to grow roses any longer, and I really wanted to try to eliminate and annihilate the Japanese beetle population in my gardens, and I had pretty much accomplished that. However, I have a friend on Instagram, and she's also here. She has a YouTube channel. Her name is Teresa Byington, and I will mention her in the comments below. You probably already know who I'm talking about. She grows the most delicious roses you've ever seen, but she really inspired me by her beautiful roses on Instagram and on her YouTube channel, and she actually said to me, you need to give it another try. So here we go, Teresa, this one's for you. This is a David Austin Lady of Shalott short climbing rose. It will only climb to about 8 feet. That's why they call it a short climbing rose. Let me read you some of the specs on the Lady of Shalott. Of course, the Lady of Shalott is named after Tennyson's poem, Lady of Shalott. So on the David Austin tag, it says a short climber growing to 8 feet, a repeat bloomer from June to September. The fragrance is medium tea, so it does have a light fragrance to it, but it's very pleasing. It's not overwhelming or anything like that. This is the part that really kind of intrigued me for this particular rose. It says position it in sun or partial shade. So when we go over to plant it in just a moment, you'll see where I'm going to plant it right in front, or excuse me, right behind a Kusa dogwood. Now this Kusa dogwood is a young Kusa dogwood, so it's going to take several years before it really shades this rose too much, and I don't even think it will shade it too much. I think it will get enough dappled light there, but for now it's going to get a full blast of 8 hours of sun where I'm going to position it until this Kusa dogwood grows. Another thing I like that the tag says is that it's ideal for a 6-foot wall or fence or an obelisk or a pillar. So I have a 6'4" trellis that I'm going to plant it in front of. So I think it will be just fine, and I will be able to train it up the trellis. I may have to trim off the very top if it grows to its full height potential of 8 feet, but I'm not worried about that. Another thing that I recently learned concerning planting roses and dealing with the fungal disease is the black spot. And this came off of Danielle at North Lawn Flower Farm's video. One of the viewers who is actually here with us on our channel, you said that you work at an arboretum and they in fact do plant salvia, because Danielle mentioned that in her video, and they plant salvia around their roses to help to ward off the fungal diseases. Now I did not ask whether that is perennial salvia or whether that's annual salvia, but for now I have some annual salvia. This is Mystic Spires Blue. I am a huge fan of all salvias and sages. I love them, perennial or annual. I just love them. I do have a couple that perennialized themselves. Whoops. I do have a couple that grew back from last year, a couple of annual salvias, and they must have seeded and they grew back. Now I am in a zone 6B/7. This rose is good for, let me see, forgot to tell you that part, zones 4 to 11. So that's a really wide range of zones. Big believer in keeping an eye on your plants every day. So when Japanese beetle season comes along at the end of June, around July and so forth, I just go out and hand pick them, and I have my buckets of soapy water ready and just plunk them right in there. So I really will be diligent, especially with this rose, because it was quite expensive. If you've ever bought a David Austin rose, you know that they're a little bit more pricey, but they are bred to be more resistant to some of the rose diseases. And so I'm really excited to add this to my garden. I've already prepared the hole. I've already dug the hole with my auger. And I'm going to add some mycorrhizal fungi to the bottom. Now I don't have any Biotone fertilizer starter on hand, but Biotone has mycorrhizal in it, so this is just the same thing, and this will help with the root development and just making strong roots. So I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of this in the planting hole, before I plant it. And then after I'm done, I'm going to put a little bit of rose tone. This is a slow release fertilizer by Espoma. So it does have, it says the exclusive biotone formula. So those two together should be just fine. I'll water it in well. And then I also have a little bit of planting mix that I will add to the existing soil. I have some leaf compost that I will spread around it. All right, well, let's get planting and then we'll chat and say a quick goodbye, and let's get started.
You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you, can't you see? I want you, I believe, 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy, I'm gonna go crazy for love. I look at you and know it's alright. You read my mind, but I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you, can't you see? I want you, I believe, 'cause I want you here with me. I'm gonna go crazy, I'm gonna go crazy for love. I don't need another love, yeah. We do this every day, we do this love for life. You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound. It's amazing all the time. You are the only thing I need in life. Oh, I want you.
So we got it all planted, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And who knew that the David Austin container makes a seat as well? It's a plus plus. I think you saw me sort of having to maneuver around the lilies and some of the foliage of the daffodils that I had cut back. I just didn't want to crush anything. So it was a little bit of acrobatic exercise, which is fine. The 63-year-old body can always use that. And we put some of the mycorrhizal fungi in the planting hole and mixed that around a little bit. And then I watered it in just to make sure I had good drainage, which I know I do in this bed. I have really good drainage in this entire area. So you can see it's wanting to lean forward just a little bit, and it will lean forward more as it grows because it's wanting to grow towards the light. So I will definitely train it to the trellis. and just give it lots of support so that it can grow up the trellis instead of forward. And we were able to get the annual salvia in, and again, I'm not sure whether it's perennial salvia or annual salvia that you're supposed to plant around roses to help ward off some of the fungal diseases, but for now this is what we have. I could have used one more because I have two over there and one over here, and isn't that always the way? But anyway, it's fine. It'll grow out and fill out. So if you're new to growing roses, as we spoke about a couple of the pests you need to watch out. One would be the Japanese beetles when their season comes in, if you live in an area where you have Japanese beetle pressure. The other one I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video is the rose sawfly larva, which is a little worm that kind of makes Swiss cheese. Oh, there's a big groundhog. Oh my word. Yep, he's been digging under the house or near the house, so we need to try to remove him and move him somewhere else. Anyway, if you see little holes on your rose bush and on the foliage of your rose bush, that means that you do have some rose sawfly larvae on the underneath of the leaves and they're eating. You can use insecticidal soap, you can use neem oil, you can use BT, but I prefer to just hand pick them and really keep an eye every day on my all of my plants to try to make sure if there's anything that's eating on them, to try to make sure I take care of that. You can just hand pick them and scrape them off, squish them. I do a lot of squishing, so get used to squishing if you've never done bug squishing. It's quite the experience. And Danielle did mention in her video that you can use copper fungicide to help ward off some of the diseases as well, and that's a very safe and natural product. So if you find that you're having black spot and a terrible problem with it, you can spray your rose bush with that. Anyway, so Teresa Byington, if you're watching, thanks for the inspiration to start at least putting in one rose in my garden space. And I really love it when gardeners inspire other gardeners or anybody to plant something. So thanks, Teresa. And if you haven't already subscribed to her channel, please do, and you'll see some absolutely gorgeous roses. Check her out on Instagram as well. I do have a couple more bags of leaf compost that I can finish out and make it look a little bit more even here, but this leaf compost will quickly turn a lighter brown and it will match all the rest. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest of the areas with leaf compost. So I'm going to enjoy this rose journey with you. I hope you will stick with me through other future videos and we can keep a check on it and see how it's doing. Hopefully I've done everything right. Hopefully I planted it close enough to the trellis. I wanted to give it room to bush out a little bit because it will be bushing out. So I'll definitely have to do some training and some tying it up to the trellis to help it get established and know that it should grow up. So friends, thanks again for being here and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.